Hey everyone. So first things first, which is the chapter wastes very little time with the hostage situation before both Robin and Gawain come in clutch to save the kids, and I like how this encounter shows Robin utilizing the environment to as much of her advantage as possible, and because couldn't feasibly kill or incapacitate Sommers, more on that in a minute, the only route at that point was to separate him from the kids, which in itself was a good strategy. But she did make the miscalculation in thinking her clone could hold out long enough to get the job done, which is where Gabon cuts in and actually delivers a pretty critical blow to Sommers by cutting off his hand. Now, the key thing with this moment, obviously, is Sommers' remark that his hand wasn't growing back. So, yeah, that does indicate there is a way to hurt them. The question is how, and I do think the answer at this point is hockey. Whatever methods the Holy Knights are using to make their bodies immortal, it can be countered with the use of hockey. And honestly, I feel if this arc is going to have the Straw Hats go through a secondary training arc, then for me, the emphasis does need to be put on either those who have awakened hockey to train up in their current, to train up in order to use it more consistently, like Usopp, or for those who haven't learned hockey to wield it and train to use it. Because again, Robin's strategy was a clever one, but her supposed inability to use hockey is what tripped her up here, and which in itself kind of brings up a question I think me and a lot of other people have had for a long time. How, why, and just what circumstances was it where hockey wasn't part of her training when she was with the Revolutionaries? Like, that's the part that kind of, I'm not gonna lie, that's the part of this that really kind of confused me quite a bit. But that's still kind of confusing me quite a bit. But I think at the bare minimum, it does need to be addressed now, frankly, if she intends to really get stronger. In all honesty, though, the MVP of this chapter was the title character, the little girl, the little giant girl, Ronja, being held over a plank, leading off a cliff to the underworld. Will Summers orders the library to be destroyed, and her response to all this, being the little champ that she is "Don't worry about us. We'll be fine. Just preserve the memories and fun times we had reading those books. Those books, that library, it is our history. Don't destroy it." And putting the sanctity of her country's history over her own life. The girl straight up had convictions, spat straight into the government's face for that response. So I gotta commend her for that. I'm not gonna lie though, when Ronja was dangling off the edge there, part of me was kind of expecting Loki to show up, like pop up straight up out of the ground from the underworld, look down at Sommers and say, "Hey, I'm only gonna ask this once, let the girl go," kind of thing, or some kind of cool line like that. Like Robin and Gibbon showing up is still awesome, but it would have been hilarious to see Sommers look up at a towering Loki with a face looking like he's gonna shit himself through fear, thinking, "Oh crap, what do we do about this?" Then that would actually have been the most perfect ending to this chapter for me, especially considering we're going on break. But it's still kind of, well, what we got was still pretty cool. It's just that would have been kind of the perfect time in my opinion for in order for Loki to show up. But again, although I imagine, and I won't dig on it too much, but I do imagine although again that does bring up the question of where Loki is, frankly, but I do imagine Oda's planning something behind the scenes. It's just he's being very secretive about what he's doing with Loki right now, and just keeping the whole Loki card very close to the chest. In saying that, I do want to talk about my expectation in terms of Sommers as a character, because at this point, although the Holy Knights have cemented themselves as a threat, it does feel like Sommers himself has planted his feet in this arc as being the sort of main antagonist, since he seems to be the one among the Holy Knights with the biggest connection to Elbaf's history, Elbaf's royalty. He basically knew King Harald, and so I think he, more than anyone else at this point, is the one that does need to die, not just to free the kids, but to firmly kind of plant Elbaf's flag of opposition against the world government. In fact, I'll even go a step further. Just like with Fishman Island, I wouldn't be surprised if in the aftermath of this arc, Luffy wants to make Elbaf part of his territory. Although, and this is where I go on a little bit of a tangent. Little bit of a tangent. There might be a problem with Luffy doing that if the story does go that route, because there's no way, because the one thing that's being kept in the back of my head with this arc is there's no way in hell Oda gave us the Mona Shanks and his crew on Elbaf at random. I think that was Oda's way of giving us a little bit of breadcrumb, hinting the possibility that Elbaf is under Shanks' protection, under Shanks' protection. It's part of his. It's one of his territories, and doing it without officially declaring it as such. And if that does prove to be the case, then that definitely adds a new wrinkle to things. And if that does it, all of this is conjecture, mind you, but it would be the most interesting way to connect all the dots, especially now that we know Shanks is a brother and is of noble blood. If this is Shanks's if Elbaf is under Shanks' control, it might have been his way of trying to protect Elbaf from basically the government and his family. So, and more specifically his family. But it's I think for me, one thing as well is it's going to be interesting if this is the case. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen when Luffy finds out. How is he going to react? Because it's definitely going to cause Luffy to ask a few more questions than normal, for sure. Even for Luffy, he's going to be asking some questions, and I think that might in itself also fuel a confrontation in some way between the red hair pirates and the straw hat pirates. I don't, and it's again, this is all conjecture, but when I kind of look at all these pieces, it does kind of fit into place more and more I think about it. It's just about how it all plays out now, I think. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Blue Sky, Analyst Crunchyroll, be sure notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight Anime signing off. Later, everyone.